So if there were 5 things that I told you guys, especially millennials and young adults, that you guys could do, learn, believe in, would you want to know what they are? Wonder if I said something as simple as putting your passion, your destination into a GPS unit will get you to where you want to go in terms of your personal goals. What about if it was something similar to a blueprint? Like if you want a house, you got to have certain things in order to build your house. You got to know certain things. You have to network with certain people. Would you like to know? Well, graduated with my master's. I thought I had everything figured out. Of course I did, right? I went to several conferences, networked my butt off all the time, but only to find out that right after graduation, which was a harvest season because I accomplished my master's, 7 years, I went right into a winter season, which allowed me to kind of slow down and figure out, well, Antonio, is this what you want to do? I did my thesis. I did several other things about several different populations. And it was great to learn all that knowledge, but can you wake up every morning and do this? I mean, some people say that's impossible, that you can't do what you want. However, I disagree with that because, I mean, once upon a time we had Blockbuster, but now we have Netflix, meaning there's a lot of innovation going on. So I'm really speaking to the individuals out here that want to change, that are inspired to change, and that know that they are not limited based off where they are right now. In fact, I reference Michael Jordan and say, limits are pretty much illusions. When you feel fear, step towards your fear. And this is what I had to do after I graduated. So we're going to talk about how I found out what I wanted to do personally, and that's motivational speak, and how I became the person I am today. Because after graduation, I have to take time and figure out who I am as a young man in order to figure out what I want to do. So first of all, we're going to talk about these things in a few terms. So you may hear a few seasonal terms. We're going to have a few bullet points just so you can remember this. And of course, it's a TED Talk, so if it's too much, just play it again. So first you got to find your passion. This is the most important point. You got to find your seed, because after your winter season, I take winter season as a time to gather your thoughts. It's usually a dark time where you may be alone, because this is what I experienced. But during that dark time, that's where I was able to see my stars. It was quiet enough where I could actually listen to direction. So that's why during your season, that's the best time to think of, well, what do I want to plant come spring? So not only do you find out your what, but your why. Your why is your motivation. Now, being a motivational speaker, I'm not your typical, hey, wake up, smell the coffee, which is great. I like directional things. I mean, I can tell you to go to California, but if you go east, it's going to take a long time to get there, right? So I'm not going to motivate you to waste your gas to go that direction. Instead, I want you to go the right direction. So really quick, I told you about my winter seasons. So I told you about what you do in your winter seasons. You have to evaluate yourself. You have to see your strengths and weakness. Young adults, I'm really talking to you right now. You got to find that thing that make you tick. Right after that comes the why. I speak to people because I was a former athlete, and after graduation, I didn't know what to do. I was basketball. Now what do you do without a basketball? It was really, really hard, so some special men really helped me out in figuring out that destination. So right now, I'm sharing this message in hopes that you would do the same. And also, through these dark times with me listening and finding the stars, my stars were books. There's some really cool books out there. Life is just like school. When you don't know what to do, get a textbook about an area that you need help in, maybe finance, and read it. Warren Buffett would be a great resource for that. So these books taught me to acquire mentors, people that'll tell you that, hey, California is west, not east. So these two concepts really allowed me to figure out what I was doing in my winter, which leads me to number 2, your blueprint. What is your instructions? And it has to be really detailed, young adults. It'll be really, really helpful. And anyone, not just young adults, but also people that are transitioning into something new. So I pull up a quote from Kevin Hart. Everybody has to lay down a successful blueprint before they even move. He's a great, great, great movie star. That's for the millennials, the Kevin Hart one. For Generation X and the boomers, President Eisenhower Plans are nothing, but planning is everything. Same thing, two very successful men telling us exactly how to do it, which reminds us why we need to read books. These people make books of how they did it, and if you need some help, these are some people that you can reference. So some things to remember. I like to put this up here because I think of life as a garden. I really do. You got to know what kind of crop you want. You got to know what kind of seeds you want. What kind of meal are you preparing for life in order to serve others? Because that's what I'm here for, is to serve others. So some things that I want you guys to remember. Find your what, find your why. The how becomes really easy. At least for me it did. Because when I was like, what I'm going to do, why am I doing it? Okay, then this is the way that I can do it. Small steps, that's the key. Small beginnings is important. If it starts off way too fast, it'll crush you. You got to figure out preparation things. You got to figure out a lot of other things to make your business flow. It's not just you doing your passion, but it's other things, especially since social media came alive. Identify obstacles, right? You know you're going to trip. That's important. You're going to trip. You're going to fail. But those are some important steps. You want to fail. You're not perfect. When you fail, you got to adjust. You just figure out a way not to do it. I mean, Thomas Edison, how many times did he invent the light bulb? Over 1,000 times. I couldn't say that I would have did it that many times. But I thank God that he did do it that many times. Then you also have to have your plan and commit to it. There's going to be several things coming your way, like, hey, you should do this, you should do that. But if it's not on your blueprint, then stick to your plan. So all these steps are important. I'm going to give you 5 of them, but the execution part is the things we kind of forget about sometimes. No matter what happens, even if you don't have everything ready, I learned to just try. It's amazing what the world will do for you if you just try. So I put a quote by Jay-Z once again, for the millennials, you will learn more in failure than you will ever learn in success. For the baby boomers and Generation X, I got something for President Jackson on there. And pretty much he's saying you can think about it, but once it's time to take action, shut up and move. So for me, when I was creating my blueprint and I figured out what I want to be, a speaker with direction, I would say, well, what market do you want to be in? So I'm going to take you through a little quick synopsis of how I blueprinted that out. So first, my idea was to get out to California because I love speaking to student athletes, been a former student athlete, so I need to get somewhere that I can really be exposed to this populace. Blueprint, utilize your resources and your network. Through my mentorship or finding different mentors, I found some really awesome people that got me to some places that I would never have been if I did not reach out and get to know them a lot better. Lastly is to execute. Now, I look at execution as anything goes. That's not against the law, right? So the reason why I say that is because at the time I had to raise funds. And I sacrificed, I was humiliated. It was a lot going on in order for me to maintain focus, to a point where I would Uber on the weekend, couldn't go out with my friends, gave away plasmas just to raise a few dollars on the side, whatever it takes, because this is my life that I'm talking about. And not too many professionals, at least according to a study by LinkedIn, they took a study of 8,000 professionals. And they asked them, were they working in their dream area? Only 30% of them agreed that they were. And I would rather be with the 30% than with the 70%. So, the seasonal progression. Let's remember, things are seeds. In order for something to grow, if you're a farmer, there's a winter, there's a spring, there's a summer, there's a fall. Winter you plant, spring you plant. Summer you have to protect. The tornado may even come in and take your whole bed, but get over that, create another bed. Fall, you're going to harvest what you thought about in the winter and what you planted in the spring. So be patient. Continue to grow your seed. Be patient. And remain focused. That's the fun part. When you start seeing stuff pop up, oh, you get to go to California, meet some cool people. That made me very excited, and I could have did a lot of things, but instead I wanted to modify my blueprint instead. Because just because something sprouts don't mean it's done. It takes an apple tree 3 to 5 years to grow. So I don't know how long it takes your seed to grow, but be patient, be patient. And lastly is the one that I love the most is self-development. Just once again, this world is very fast. It's not Blockbuster, it's Netflix now. You can obtain any information. That's why you guys are here right now watching TED Talks. So you're very familiar with TED Talks and how knowledge is just right at your fingertips. So I would advise that we continue to learn. Utilize your resources. Utilize your resources. Continue to upgrade your equipment. All right, you can work a lot faster. Be proactive, not reactive. And that's why I continue to do what I do now. I continue to find different speaking occasions, meet different people, stop and talk, go to different conferences, because I know it's gonna help my professional career. So as young adults, recent graduates, someone that's looking for something that just makes them excited again, I remind you, keep looking, know what you're looking for. Go the route that you choose. Don't let people choose for you. Take suggestions, but don't let people choose for you. And let's remember the 5 things we went over today. Find your what, your why. The how tends to come easy. Make a blueprint. You got to have direction. Execute. Execution makes me motivated, super motivated. Execute. Be patient. Know that it's going to be a progression. Things are going to get bigger. That's why you have to do what you want. Because as they go nice and slow, you're okay, because you're doing exactly what you love. And lastly, never stop self-developing, because you're going to learn things from people. You're going to meet people that's just going to astonish you. So I leave you with this, as you watch all the other speakers talk, is what's your seed? Thanks.